Hi everybody, I hope you're having a great time. My name's Pete and I've been asked to share a little bit of my story with you today. I think it's fair to say that my life started a little bit chaotic when I found myself growing up in the care system, moving from foster home to children's home after being abandoned by my birth mother, and I finally found myself moving to Blackpool when I was 7 years old with a foster family. My early teenage years were quite rebellious, and I think when I look back now, what I found that I was struggling to understand what my identity was, and I became quite angry at the fact that I'd had a tough start to life, which showed out in my behaviour. I used to drink a lot as a 13-year-old, and I would try and escape life by sniffing glue and all sorts of other stuff that was really not good for me. This continued in my school years. I wasn't very good at school, but at the age of 16 I decided to join the army, and I thought maybe this is what I'm looking for in life. Initially that went quite well. I think I revelled in the structure that the army gave me. But it wasn't long before I started to drift back into my old ways of drinking and basically rebelling against anyone who showed me any kind of love, thinking that it was all false. This continued to spiral, and I found myself in jail for an incident I'm not proud of. And coming out of jail, I think I probably hit the lowest point of my life one night when I decided to end it. I felt that I wasn't worth being on this planet, and I took my rifle in the guard room one night, went into the toilets and loaded it up and thought I was going to take my own life. I didn't do that, and when I look back, at the time I thought I was just a coward and I couldn't even take my own life. But obviously God had other plans for me. A week or so later, my life kind of changed dramatically when I met somebody in the local shop in the army camp who, when I first met her, she was really nice and friendly, and I hadn't experienced this kind of joy that was coming out of somebody before. And I decided to pluck up the courage to ask her out on a date. And when we went out on a date, it's quite clear that we were not very compatible. She said she was a Christian, she played the cello. I told her that I was dependent on alcohol and that I'd been to prison and I was probably going to get kicked out of the army anytime soon. But that didn't deter her from trying to help me out. So one day she asked me the dreaded question, would I come to church? I didn't want to go, but the relationship was going quite well, so I did go. And I think the thing that struck me the most when I went into that church building was this sense of joy that was coming out of the people and the building that I hadn't really experienced before. And it was infectious. And I wanted more and more of it. Each time I went to church, I had a really great time. But it took me 9 months before I finally decided to give my life to Christ. And I think the reason was that I thought I wasn't capable, I wasn't suitable, God wouldn't love somebody like me, which was all completely wrong, because God takes us as we are and can come into our life and help us at any time possible. So 9 months later I gave my life to Christ, and I've had an incredible journey since then of laying things down at the foot of the cross that no longer belong in my life, and that's been a bit of a journey. But also I have this overwhelming sense of joy in my life that that I just want to share with everybody else. So I trained as an evangelist, and my aim in life is to find people and share this joy that I have with them. Because what I've found is through what Jesus did at the cross, God's grace is available to all of us, even me, that idiot from all those years ago who has managed to turn his life around. God is available for you too, and for all of your friends. So my encouragement to you is find those moments where you can invest in somebody and tell them about this Jesus who can transform lives.